bill of law does a good job in making sure that companies understand that they actually need to translate the legal requirements and those principles set forth by the bill into concrete measures. They need to translate them into measures to consider safety, risk, and so forth. So that's good. That's good stuff. But then at the end of the day, the fine tuning is still up for discussion. I do think that in terms of the accountability requirements and documentation and reporting requirements, there might be an argument that those requirements are too strict, and that they may create a burden on companies. It may be cost or time prohibitive to engage in those documentation and transparency requirements. I do think that there could be, and again, it's an easy position, mine, isn't it, to sit here and say all of that. But I'm doing it just to foster debate and just to get conversation going. Those are important topics for us to discuss and make sure that they're exhaustively discussed before the bill is approved. So again, to that end, I do think that there's room, I guess, for more discussion and for more consideration on how much the law recognizes and incentivizes certifications and adherence to self-regulatory or co-regulatory commitments, and at the same time whether that could be considered as a risk like a mitigating factor during enforcement. But that said, moving on to a very practical point of view, I think it's absolutely positive that the bill of law takes into consideration codes of practice and incentivizes companies to adopt codes of practice. I think that there's a close relationship between CIPL's framework and what the law sets forth, in terms of making sure that companies and their accountability programs take into consideration risk assessments, have policies in place, procedures. I don't think that the bill talks about training, but transparency, monitoring, response, all of that. We do have experience with implementing all of that when implementing our IP programs or data protection programs. So there's a lot that companies can leverage from existing practices. I guess overall, it's just a matter of fine-tuning exactly what is it that's expected from companies, and just making sure that we're not creating a burden that would be too time-consuming or cost prohibitive for organizations.